Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel, Becoming Susan. This is the spot where we talk about how we can use affirmations and other really powerful mindfulness tools to bring joy, happiness, wealth into our lives. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the power of positivity. I used positivity to help me go from bedbound to completely healthy and happy. And I'd like to share some of the tips and tricks that I use to become a really positive person. All right, so as always, I began my journey of becoming a positive person through the use of affirmations. My affirmations around positivity are: I am a positive person, I see the positive things in others around me, and I always see positive outcomes. And when I began thinking this way and bringing this affirmation and acting as if I was a positive person and eventually becoming a super positive person, I saw huge changes in my health. I saw huge changes in how I treated people and how people treated me. And overall, I just became a much happier person. The thing is when you become positive, lots of awesome chemicals happen in your brain. Lots of dopamine, lots of endorphins, lots of really amazing chemicals are released through your body when you're positive and happy and joyful. And even though others around me may not be positive or happy, I choose to be this way. And that's something that's really important for all of us to understand, is everything that we think, everything that we choose to do is a choice. Sometimes we feel like, no, we're like this because of our circumstances, or we're like this because this person did this thing to me. Well, once you wake up to knowing that you have a choice, that you can choose certain outcomes in your life, then your life can change truly. And so I chose to become a positive person. I had been a really negative person. Maybe on the outside I would be positive, but a lot of my internal dialogue was really, really negative. And that contributed to my health declining. And so I knew that if I wanted to change my outlook, if I wanted to change my circumstances, I needed to change within, and part of that was becoming a positive person. So it's not all your fault. I want to explain how the brain works. Did you know that our brains are wired to look for the negative, to look for problems? The reason for this is because we come from a history of having to run away from saber-toothed tigers. And because of that, our brains now always look for those negative circumstances or problems. And what we do know about the brain is our brains are super plasticiable. And so we can change that wiring. And even if we're at 40 years old or 20 years old, we can always rewire our brains to be more positive. And it does take work. It takes a lot of work. And so I'm going to talk to you about the steps that you can take to rewire your brain to be more positive. The other thing we can think about is that we have several slices to ourselves. And the more attention we give to a particular slice of ourselves, the bigger the slice that becomes. I'll just give you an example. So take an athlete, maybe a famous basketball player. The slice of that person's life of thinking that they are athletic probably is a pretty big slice of who they think they are as a person. And so they're thinking about their workouts, they're thinking about their practice, they're thinking about tournaments and playing. And so that slice of them is a really big slice of who they are. Same thing goes for negativity or positivity. People that are negative, the only reason that they are negative is they've given that slice of themselves a lot of attention. They have put a lot of attention on complaining. They've put a lot of attention on seeing negative outcomes. They've put a lot of attention on problems. And so we can think of ourselves as these kind of little pizza slices, and the more attention you give a particular slice, the bigger it grows. And we can always change that. So if our slice of negativity is this big, our positivity might be a smaller slice, but we can flip it. The more attention we give to positivity, that slice will actually grow. And the negative slice that we have within us will become smaller and smaller and smaller. I also want people to have self-compassion for themselves, knowing that possibly that negativity came from a really beautiful place of just wanting to protect yourself from harmful things or harmful people or harmful entities or harmful circumstances. And so just knowing that, you can kind of give yourself a hug and know that you can say thank you for trying to protect me, and thank you for always trying to look out for me, and I appreciate that, but it no longer serves me. I'd like to move into a more positive direction. All right, the first thing that we can do is we can stop negativity in its tracks and stop those patterns from occurring in our brains and in our minds and our body by stopping the complaining. And so my favorite quote that I heard a really long time ago, and it's always stuck with me, is complaining is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you don't really get anywhere with it. And so we can think about how do we spend our time talking with people. And if you have this self-awareness, then you are on this journey of waking up, basically. So be just aware of how often you complain in the day. Do you complain about the weather? Do you complain about the people around you? Do you complain about your children? Do you complain about your husband or your wife? Do you complain about your job? And so the first thing I want you to do is just be aware of how much you complain and stop the complaining. So it might look something like this. You might be on the verge of complaining about something, but you keep yourself from saying that complaint. You may think it in your mind, but you don't say it verbally. The next thing you can do is you can stop the thoughts of complaint in your mind. If you have a thought of complaint, immediately think of a more positive thought to follow that up. So if you think something like, oh man, I hate my job, I don't want to go to work today, follow that up with, I'm so lucky to have a job. I get to go to work and make money for the things that I really enjoy doing. So it can look something like that. So first step is to stop complaining. All right, the next thing that I recommend is writing in a journal of all the things that are going well in your life, all the positive aspects. So be thinking about what's going great with your job, what's going great in your morning routine, what did you do well today, what were some of those small wins. Now, every single person has something that they've done right during the day. Even if they think they're having the worst day in the world, you've done some things that are positive. You've done things that are great. You somehow spread joy in this world, even if it means that you opened the door for somebody or you gave someone a smile. The more that you're able to recognize those things, those small wins, those big wins in your life, you're able to see the positive things in your own life. So I recommend journaling at least 3 things a day. It can start small, so I don't want to overwhelm you, but every day just pick up a pen, pick up a paper, and write down 3 things that you are doing well, either at the beginning of the day and you can reflect on the past day, or at the end of the day and you can reflect on your current day. Next, I like to see the positive aspects of every relationship or person that's in my life. I really like to believe that every human is doing the very best that they can with the tools and resources and circumstances that they've been given. And just that belief in itself helps me to be more positive. And I like to see the gifts that people bring. They may not be the best human in the world, but I believe that every single person has something to offer this world, and I try to look for those things. And if you can just recognize that, oh, yeah, this person may do this like kind of shady thing over here, but overall, this person really can make people laugh. Or this person has a way of shining up a room. Or this person really is quiet, but so calm. So there's something that we can learn from everyone. And if you're able to find those subtle or even big gifts in others, it can really support you with being a more positive person. Now, this tip is so big, and this truly did shift how I think about life in general. And this revolves around the idea of mistakes are okay. We can find the positives in every mistake and every failure. And when I started doing this and even being grateful for the huge, horrible things that had happened in my life, I became an extremely positive person. It also connects to this idea of a growth mindset. So there are two types of mindsets. There are growth mindsets and there are fixed mindsets. With a growth mindset, you can take any problem and think that there's always some type of solution and that you can learn and grow from any mistake or mishap that has happened in your life. I have done this so much so that I am completely grateful for my experience of the sickness and illnesses that I went through. I even experienced iatrogenic injury through medications that were given to me. And I am very grateful, and I have a positive outlook on those experiences, because if it weren't for those experiences, I would have never found this mindfulness work of visualizations, affirmations, and other things like meditation. And so we can even look at the quote unquote horrible experiences in our life, and if we have a positive mindset, we can think about how we became gritty, how we were able to persevere through those things, how we became strong, how we became confident, how we became unstoppable because we went through experience like that. So if you are going through an experience right now that is pretty horrible, how could you flip it in your mind to think about how when you come out through the other side of this experience, how much more stronger, grittier of a person you will be because of it. I also want you to embrace this idea of the placebo effect. Did you know that scientific studies have found that patients that were given placebos instead of real medication were able to create these same chemical properties in their own minds and bodies just based on the belief that they knew they were going to get better? So embrace that through the power of positivity. Just know, have a deep belief inside that you will heal. Tell yourself that you can accomplish anything. Tell yourself over and over and over again that all will be right in this world. Everything will work out for you, that you can do anything. And with that positivity, you will be amazed at what will happen in your life. All right, what are some positive perks that you can bring into your life to be a more positive person? Well, the first thing you can do is surround yourself with more positive people. If you've been thinking about who you're hanging around with, are they negative Nellies? Sometimes people bond by complaining and being negative. So, how could you surround yourself with more uplifting, positive people? We become who we hang around. So, have that in mind as you shift to a more positive mindset. Next, what type of music are you listening to? What are the lyrics saying? So, we are filling our minds with lots of stuff during the day. Is it positive or is it negative? Be thinking about that and make that shift to more positive music. Next, be thinking about things that you can do that have a physiological, positive effect on your body, like taking walks or going and exercising. Did you know that if you take a cold shower or a cold dip, that can release dopamine in your brain for almost the entire day? Now, that would be a great way to boost the positivity in your mind. Last but not least, laugh a lot. Just laughing. Laugh at your mistakes. Laugh with friends. Laugh at shows on the TV. There's even laughing yoga that you can go to. The more you laugh, that really does carve out pathways in your brain to be a more positive person. So bring more laughter into your life.